If you are a fan of SpaceX, you have likely seen shots like this before. Rocket manufacturers typically go above and above to record every detail of their launches when it comes to spaceflight. During the Apollo era, television networks broadcast the whole Apollo 11 mission in spectacular detail, reaching 600 million viewers worldwide as Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon. More than 1 million people watched the recent Falcon Heavy launch live on YouTube alone. We are able to see these rockets' amazing travels because of the television staff. However, what about the rocket voyages that are hidden from us? We will examine the difficult cross-country flight the Falcon 9 must make to get to the launch pad in this video. Additionally, we will discuss current modes of transportation as well as other modes that were previously employed. Although most of SpaceX's rockets are launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, the company's Hawthorne, California plant produces the Falcon 9 rocket. This implies that they must travel 2,500 miles to reach the launch location alone. The Falcon 9 travels in sections on the back of a massive semi-truck to reach Cape Canaveral. Prior to that, however, each new Merlin engine is shipped to their testing headquarters in McGregor, Texas, where it undergoes a comprehensive static fire test. After that, each engine is brought back to Hawthorne to be connected to the first stage of the Falcon 9. After then, the massive first stage travels the long trek to Cape Canaveral, frequently pausing in McGregor to do collective static fire tests. Each of the 4 landing legs, the fairings, and the second stage are delivered to the Cape individually by truck. SpaceX usually hires private transportation firms like McGarr Bayall Brothers and Easy Trucking to move their Falcon 9 rockets using specially designed cradles that are attached to a 44-wheeled trailer. Because the Falcon 9 components are encased in black cloth, they are shielded from potential harm during the 2,500-mile journey. After arriving at the Cape, the Falcon 9 is unwrapped, examined, and given to SpaceX, who use a vehicle they recently purchased from NASA to deliver the rocket to the assembly building. The space shuttle was hauled to the assembly facility and connected to its rockets using this transporter. After assembling the Falcon 9 in its hangar, the transporter erector elevates it into its final configuration, ready for launch, and transports it out to the launch pad horizontally. The Falcon 9's trip does not end after it launches its payload into orbit. In contrast to most rockets, more transportation is required because SpaceX plans to reuse their rockets. Recovery vessels GoQuest and GoSearcher are usually waiting with crew to fasten the Falcon 9 to the autonomous drone ship and pull it back to the port at Cape Canaveral when it lands on the drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Although the first stage of the Falcon 9 is the biggest and most costly component, SpaceX has only recovered the first stage of its rockets thus far. The company's long-term goal is to make rockets completely reusable. In order for the Falcon 9 to fit beneath every bridge and overpass it would see on its route from California to Florida, SpaceX limited the rocket's diameter to 3.7 meters throughout the design process. This raises the question of why rockets are transported by road. Large rocket parts have been transported using a variety of techniques in the past. NASA transported the enormous Saturn V first stage to Florida in the 1960s and 1970s using a marine transport system. The Saturn V was built and launched at Cape Kennedy after a 10-day, 2,000-mile journey from Huntsville to Mississippi on the Tennessee River, then all the way down the Mississippi River and around the south coast of Florida. The second stage had to be shipped by barge via the Panama Canal and back up to Florida, because it was made in California. The instrument unit and the third stage were flown to Cape Kennedy by NASA on cargo planes. They were able to fit onto a cargo plane called Guppy, which was made especially for cargoes like this, because they were just 6.5 meters in diameter. Road transport was occasionally required, even though the Saturn V was primarily transported by sea. Because the first and second stages were 10 meters in diameter, 3 times larger than the Falcon 9. This proved to be extremely difficult. Because the Saturn V was so large, sea transit may have been the most practicable mode of transportation. However, delivering the pieces in this manner is not at all viable for rockets, like as the Falcon 9. Almost all of SpaceX's rocket components are now transported on land, keeping things simple. This approach is not only the most cost-efficient for SpaceX, but it is also far less expensive than the other air and sea alternatives. And in some modern textiles have been designed to speed up repairs. There you have it. Then it turns out that moving these enormous rocket components across the nation involves a lot more work behind the scenes. Check out my movie on how rocket launches are shot if you want to learn more about what happens behind the scenes. Make sure to subscribe so you can participate in the conversation as we continue to learn more about everything space. And feel free to ask any questions you may have in the comments section below. End of section 34. I appreciate your watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bliss, Inner Circle.